Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tattvam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vedyat Ravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Adatte kasyachit papam na cheva sukrutam vibhu ajnanena vratam jnanam tena muhyanti jantavah. The Lord takes neither the demerit nor even the merit of any. Knowledge is enveloped by ignorance, thereby beings
Knowledge is what?
Knowledge is enveloped.
Enveloped. Okay,
Enveloped.
I'm sorry.
By ignorance, thereby beings are deluded.
Yes. So, again, when Krishna talks about himself, he's talking about you and me, reviewing ways to study Gita, lowest level. Dharma Shastra tells us the do's and don'ts of life. That's identifying with the physical body, our actions. Identifying with Arjuna. This essentially is with the mumukshu, the seeker after liberation. We can also say it's being identified with the subtle body, purifying our thoughts and feelings. Then we can read it being identified as Krishna, which is about Atma, which is about the self in all of us. So it does no good for us to think, oh, Krishna out there does nothing. I do everything because I have a hard life. What Krishna is saying about himself is true about the self. So the practice that's implied, we start at the level of the body, endeavoring to practice the Dharma. Very simple, basically. Do our best not to be a jerk. That's easier said than done for many of us. At the mental and emotional level, we start by the practice of thought replacement. And it's so clearly put forward in the second chapter of Yoga Sutra, the first sutra. Tapas Swadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhana Kriya Yoga. First, we do our psychological inventory, swadhyaya. It's a different understanding of self-study, where I become aware of my character assets and my character defects. These we call our kleshas, or our afflictions, or our doshas, our defects of character. Then we engage in tapas. Tapas is usually translated as austerity. It doesn't mean staying up all night on Shivaratri. It doesn't mean standing in a cold river. It doesn't mean standing on one leg for hours on end. It means that our minds have habituated trains of thought which are not conducive to liberation. How am I doing? What did they think of me? Am I okay? I'm a piece of poop. Or I think I did really well. I'm better than anybody. Or, oh, I have such regret for the past. How could I have done that? It was such a mistake. If only, if only. I'm sure none of you have never indulged in that, have you? I'm glad you're all with me. Or the future. The stock market's going to crash next year. What am I going to do? Oh, my company's going to go bankrupt. Oh, what am I going to do? I might as well stay in bed. The Republicans may win. So these are papam, sin. Doesn't mean we're disobeying God's rules. There's no God up there who's going to punish us. Remember, we are not punished for our sins. We are punished by them. If you go out with some friends Friday night and drink cheap champagne and you wake up with a hangover Saturday morning, God didn't do it. Why do you have the hangover? Because of what I did. Papam or sin is any thought or action that we engage in that has as a result the further grossification of the mind. Punya, on the other hand, merit, doesn't mean just doing puja every day, doing 1,008 repetitions of your mantra. These can be somewhat helpful, but the basic idea of punya, merit, is actions or flows of thinking that we engage in that serve to purify the mind. This is the yogi's way of looking at papam and punya. So at one particular level, we work on that. When I see my mind spiraling, oh, why did I say that? How could I have done that? No one's ever going to love me. I'm ugly. All that kind of stuff. There's something wrong with me. Anybody ever have thoughts like that? You go to the psychologist and they'll say, reframe it. Tell yourself a better story. Yoga says, turn your mind in another direction. The problem is paranoid self-observation. How am I doing? Am I okay? What do they think of me? Instead, think of God, think of other people. Put your mind where your hands are working. Don't let your mind get caught up in those habituated modes of thinking. Turn your mind into more productive thoughts. This takes purushartha, self-effort. There's no magic pill. There's no secret mantra. There's no holy Ganga water. There's no vibhuti from a great saint that's going to do it. We have to change the habituated flow of the mind thought by thought. Then, disperse. We give up even that. I am ever the witness of action, feeling, and thought. I do nothing. And if the world says your action is non-conducive, and if the world says, oh, that was such a great thing you did, let it go. I do nothing. Yet, the body, mind, intellect, just watch it. Just so this taking on Sakshi Bhava as a practice, endeavoring to stay identified with the uninvolved witness of our interior experience. Any thoughts on this? Foundational to our work. This is practice that's not done so much in our meditation seat as in the world. Again, the yogi takes on the maxim, if I am disturbed, no matter the cause, I am the one. Well, if I cheated, don't I have a right to be angry? You can do whatever you want. But nobody has the power to make us feel anything. Their actions are just their actions. Never touch me. Never touch yourself. What the world and its people are oftentimes quite wrong. But if your solution to that is to resent them, to get angry, to dwell on it, to sacrifice your serenity because you get to give up needing to be right, needing to be in control. Now, what do we do about the world? I like to use the maxim, be solution oriented. It's not personal. Be solution. So for Vinayak, if some of your engineers report to you that a particular widget isn't working the the way you expected, what do you do about it?
Find ways in which you can make it work.
Be solution. You go out looking for fundraising for venture capital, and someone says, no, I don't want to. Like you very much, but no, thank you. What do?
Next person.
The solution. We have a wonderful word that's used in Yoga Vasishtha. Shitala. Anybody know what Shitala means?
Cool.
Yeah. I always think of West Side Story. Boy, crazy boy, be cool, boy. Remember that one? The Hindus made it up thousands of years ago. Be cool. Keep the mind sheath. All right, next verse.
Jnanena tu tad jnanam yesham nashitam atmanah tesham adityavat jnanam prakashayati tatparam. But to those whose ignorance is destroyed by the knowledge of the self, like the sun, to them knowledge reveals the supreme Brahman.
Yes, so if my mind is covered by ignorance, I like to reduce it to just these three ideas. This comes again from Yoga Vasishtha. First, I have the veiling power of ignorance. What does that mean? The non-apprehension of myself as Brahman. I forget it. Then comes the Vikshepa Shakti, the projecting power. What does my mind project? Essentially, it starts Jiva Bhavana. I think I'm a person. That's the first thought. But then almost immediately is a goal. I'm not okay. And I either need to fix the world or I need to fix me. The third idea is struggle, kartavya. I've got to go from point A to point B. Sense of individuality, the goal, and the compulsion to struggle toward it. So that I am okay. That's all there is to samsara. That's all there is to my suffering. That is the fruit of my ignorance. That's the world of the wheel of karma, the karma chakra. Yoga says strike at any one of those three ideas, and the other two fall. Koham, who am I? I'm not a person. I'm a grounded being. I'm that witnessing consciousness. Strike at the second idea. There's nothing in the world of name and form that's solid or real. It's just consciousness appearing as name and form. Or strike at the third. Surrender. Ishvara Pranidhana, trustful surrender to God. I turn it all over to the infinite. It's okay. I give up struggle. Now we can work on all three. Focus on just one. If you master one, the other two will fall. That's the essence of it. But if I'm in ignorance, if I think I'm a person and I have a goal and I have to struggle for it, all the scripture study in the world, all the puja in the world, all the chanting in the world, all the money in the world, all the friends in the world, all the big houses, the cars, never solve the problem. Who am I? What is this world? And how has it come about? Those are the three questions that the scriptures address. Any thoughts on this? Next verse.
Tatbuddhayastadaatmana astanishtastatparayana gacchantya punaravritti jnana nirdhuta kalmashaha. Intellect absorbed in that, their self being that, established in that, with that for their supreme goal. They go whence there is no return, their sins dispelled by knowledge.
Yes, yes. So what he's referring to, stay with the deepest of all questions. Koham. Who am I? What is my essential nature? I am not the body. I am not the prana. I am not the feelings. I am not the thoughts. I'm not the idea of self. Absorb the mind. Drown the mind in the self. Soak mind. No concern for the world of name. Why is this so important and what does it do? Let's look at the technology. So my problem is ignorance. Ignorance is nothing more than the sum total of my vasanas. Now listen carefully. What is the first power of a vasana?
Feeling power.
Failing power. So in a sense, we don't have to worry too much about what's been projected. Strike at the root of it. So as I'm moving through my day, you may have Swiss cheese mind, or sometimes I call it the yo-yo state. Come to Gita class, get tuned up, no doubts about who I am, or in my own meditation, go on a retreat. But somehow, I get out there in the world and ignorance overcomes my mind and I never see it. I never see it. I like to compare it to the dream state. Go to bed, sleep, and then your mind creates the dream. Your mind does not roll the credits at the beginning of the dream. You never see the beginning of the dream. Isn't that our experience? The mind creates an unexamined, assumed cause and effect past. Who had a dream last night? They remember. Or recently.
Mhm.
You dream that you're horseback riding. There you are in the corral with horses. You get the horse, and it's weird. You got on it backwards by accident. You're going. But you never think, how did I get from my bed to this ranch? You never have a thought like that. It starts like episode 3 on TV, and you never see it begin. So you could literally be hiring a guide here in Satsang. By the time you get to the car, as you're crossing the street, the veil of ignorance comes down. You forget you are Brahman, and then all of a sudden, I'm Jim, and I need to go to the store, and I'm worried about tomorrow. And what am I going to do about that relation? I mean, mine. You're in the dream of ego. Never realize you just forgot who you are. You just went sound asleep to your essential nature. Does this sound familiar? This, at least from my experience, is what happens. So if you can, I call it the fortune cookie in the dream. So there you are, you're at a Chinese restaurant in your dream. Break open your fortune cookie and it says, you're having a dream, don't believe anything that's going on. A fortune cookie in the dream. So this is your fortune cookie in the dream. If I feel like a person, I'm already deluded. If I have Jiva Bhavana, if I feel like a person, what do I do about it? Stop everything. Give up all struggle. For a moment at least, give up concern for the world. Turn the mind within. Notice who am I? Oh, there I am. I'm not a person. Space of pure consciousness. When we do that, it burns up millions of vasanas. Why? It strikes at the root of it. The first power of a vasana is veiling power. When you remember who you are, you're not being veiled. As you will. But do it from the standpoint, I'm that space of awareness, the witness of the activity of the body, the movement of the mind. None of it touches. We need to do this over and over. This is why the world becomes our friend. Because we will draw to ourselves exactly the circumstance that triggers that vasana. That's how it comes to us. And if we're still unconscious and we miss it, don't worry. The Lord is very patient. He will give it to you again. Until I don't get involved in it. I stay identified as Brahman. till I renounce my attachment to the people, places, things, and conditions. Doesn't mean I get rid of them. It means I renounce the attachment. You can't get rid of the world. To try to get rid of the world is like when you see a hologram of Princess Leia. Remember when R2D2 projects Princess Leia in the very first Star Wars?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like Princess Leia. I'm going to get a broom out and sweep her away. Could you sweep away Princess Leia?
No.
Why not?
She's a hologram.
Oh. Sarvamidam hologram iti. Just made up that mantra. Pretty to look at. Trinkets and bottles. I'm reading a wonderful book, The Cutting Through Spiritual Materialism of Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche. And if you read that, it was a classic in the 70s. I haven't read it in 50 years. So I have a friend we're reading it together. And this chapter we were dealing with this morning was about humor. But you don't want to be serious about your yoga. I'm a serious yogi. You know, it's a serious business I'm doing. I'm working on myself, you know. It's serious. And then, of course, what do you do? You're not doing it right. I'm a better yogi than that person. You know, I can see their reaction. Like, I'm a better yogi than they are. Then you get to see how funny it is. Our own silliness. Watch the mind doing silly, silly dance. Swamiji thought people were funny. He laughed at us all the time. And laughed at life. Laughed at everything. It's funny. So we hold the process lightly. Space around. We begin to see the irony, the contradictions of our mind, its inherent hypocrisies, its stupid little strategies. They become funny. Any thoughts on this? All right, next verse.
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Kavi Hastini Shuni Chaiva Ch.5 Pandita Samadarshinaha. Sages look with an equal eye upon a Brahman, endowed with learning and humility, on a cow, on an elephant, and even on a dog and an outcast.
So many people think I want to give up all my judgments. And I like us to consider the paradigm that Ramana Maharshi used. For young people, we've got to find something else because these things don't even exist anymore. He used the example of the movie projector. Consciousness is like the lamp in the movie projector. The mind is like the film. Our various judgments are the images on the film. The world, for me, is what shows up on the screen. The world is the mind is the world. They are not separate. Well, I'm going to get rid of all my stupid ideas and see the world as it is. I'm going to take all the images off the film. What shows up on the screen? There are no forms. So, if you see a world of name and form, you are seeing your prejudices. You are seeing your judgments. I want to get rid of all my judgments. When you get rid of all your judgments, you will not be able to see the world. It's of value to reduce them. Nothing else out of compassion for the rest of us. But the yogi doesn't take her judgments seriously. At the birthday party yesterday, my friend Amini sang. She does classic Karnataka music. And there were some people who were there who are Westerners, who are not familiar with Indian culture. My suspicion is it was probably difficult listening for them. I know it was for me the first time I heard Indian music. And for those of you who are Indian, the first time you heard opera, did it just sound like screaming? Or Chinese opera? You have Chinese friends, they hear Chinese opera. To my ears, I don't understand it. Understand it at all. So what is beauty? What is harmony? It's all just judgment. So the yogi just wants to not take their own mind seriously. Whenever I think about the world, it's not a truth. It's an opinion. It happens to be this one's opinion. Hold it lightly. What is true? Only you are true. Only you are never subject to negation. Only you are not a product of the mind. That knowledge is a different knowledge. I miss it because it's always going on. I don't notice it. But you do not see, hear, taste, touch, smell, emote, or think yourself. Yet you are not unknown. You are not known as an object. You are not known through the known instruments of perception. Yet you are not unknown. How can it be knowable and not knowable at the same time? Yes. It's not knowable. Listen carefully. I've read the scriptures. I understand them. I know the self. No, it's not the knowledge we're talking about. You are self-evident, self-luminous, self-shining. And that is a constant and eternal truth. Not in any way touched by the vagaries of the mind. Don't believe me. Next one.
Ihaiva terjita sargo yesham same sthitam manaha nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmat brahmani te sthita. Even here in this world, birth or everything is overcome by those whose minds rest in equality. Brahman is spotless indeed and equal. Therefore, they are established in Brahman.
So, the opposite of birth, the opposite of death is not life. The opposite of death is birth. Life has no opposite. What is the absolute and inevitable constant of this world? Form always changes. No form is permanent. Forms come into existence, they exist for a while, and then they go out of existence. Just look at a photo of yourself as a teenager. Where did that body go? You have not gone anywhere. That's the other eternal fact. Do not be identified with the changing forms. See that you are the changeless self. Next one.
Na prahishyet priyam prapya no dvijyet prapya chapriyam sthira buddhira sammudho brahmavid brahmani sthita. Resting in Brahman with steady intellect and undiluted, the knower of Brahman neither rejoices on obtaining what is pleasant nor grieves on obtaining what is unpleasant.
Yes. So when we give up our investment into the world of name and form, convinced that this situation is joy-giving, that situation is inherently misery-producing. We learn this trick of tuning up, tiring into the sun, we have access to a peace that's not of this world. Independent of external circumstances. Again, I go back to chapter 2, verse 55. When a person casts off all the desires of the mind, O Partha, and second part, satisfied in the self, by themselves, the two together. And they're said to be a person of steady rest. Or Shankara will say about the teacher who's a full knower of the Supreme, retired into the Supreme. You can have it. It's available. It's available. Self-realization is not difficult. It is rare because most people, many Indians especially, don't think that they're worthy. Oh, it's for Mahatmas. I'm just an ordinary person. Westerners, they're too stupid. They don't realize it's special. Oh, no, sure, I think I'll get realized. You don't have the cultural baggage. It's a benefit for Westerners. But the price tag, have to give up the grasping quality of the mind extroverting into the world. The more I grasp and desire and clutch, the more my peace recedes. Watch the mind. Don't believe me. Prove or disprove this. I found it true. Next one.
Bahya sparsheshva saktatma vindatyatmani yat sukham sabrahma yoga yuktatma sukhamakshaya mashnute. With the self unattached to the external contacts, he finds happiness in the self. With the self engaged in the meditation of Brahman, he attains endless happiness.
So here, the self here he's talking about is the mind. It's the subtle body. So we detach from the chaos of the senses. This doesn't mean going inside and shutting it all out. Although in meditation we do that. But it means as I move through the world, I practice meditation in action. Give up my worry, my concern for the world. Constantly remembering. Absorb the mind and the sound. If I forget, which most of us do, when I come to, when I remember, oh, I'm really extrovert. Okay. Bring the mind back. What verse are we on?
We are on 21.
And we have 29.
Yeah.
Okay, next one.
Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkhayo evate adyantatvanta kaunteya nate shuramate buddha. The enjoyments that are born of contacts are only generators of pain, for they have a beginning and an end, O son of Kunti. The wise do not rejoice in them.
So Nisargadatta Maharaj says something that seems outrageous. He says, worldly happiness and sorrow are the same thing. No, they're not. Worldly happiness feels good. I love it. Suffering sucks. They're not the same thing. What does Krishna say? If I attribute to a person, place, thing, or situation the source of my happiness, when it changes. Notice I didn't say if. When it's gone. Or even more crazy. I meet somebody, oh, you're so wonderful, I really love you. And then I change. My mind changes. Oh, I didn't realize what a jerk they were. That's funny. So the Master Jesus said, I'm in the world, but not of it. My kingdom is not of this world. Yogi has another playground. Doesn't mean they avoid the world, because the world is not problematic. Yogi rebels in himself. Atmaramana develops what we call Brahmananda rasa. Rasa means juice. Juice of the bliss. It's real. But have it. Easy. Don't worry. Be happy. But unlike the world, yourself never changes. It is always Chidana, bliss, consciousness. Next verse.
Shapnoti heva yasodum praksharira vimokshanat kama krodhodbhavam vegam sayukta sa sukhi nara. He who is able, while still here in this world, to withstand before the liberation from the body, the impulse born out of desire and anger, he is a yogi, he is a happy man.
So, this is what it is that we need to conquer. Kama, raga, and vesha. My insistence that I must have this, my insistence have to be rid of that. I call it our inner 2-year. I don't want to eat my vegetables. I want ice cream. That's the mind. And we don't do it out of willpower. It's done from insight. We watch our minds. What's it feel like to want something you don't have? It sucks. Yoga says there's no other suffering. That's it. Wanting something I don't have. It has an inverse form, wanting to be rid of something I don't like. And it has a neurotic form. I have what I want, but I'm afraid I'm going to lose it. But it's kama, it's desire, it's spriha, longing, vancha, wanting. What happens when I get what I want? For a moment, the longing goes away. That's a taste of my self-nature. I've just used a medium to get there, which is so much hard work and so cumbersome and so full of variables. It's a crapshoot. 95 cents worth of work for a nickel's worth of pleasure. It's just bad economics. Nothing wrong with it. It's not evil. It's stupid. That's all. Come home. All right, can you chant one more?
Yeah, chant
Then
for
we'll
the
let you
leaf.
out. Deepa has to leave us early.
Yonta sukhontara rama asthata. Yonta sukhontara rama astathanta jyotirevadya. Sayogi brahma nirvanam brahma bhuto vigacchati. He who is happy within, who rejoices within, who is illuminated within, that yogi attains absolute freedom or moksha, himself becoming Brahman.
And he's used the word nirvana here. So the Buddhists did not make up this word much earlier. So the person who's done that twofold thing, let go of the attachment to the world and learn to soak the mind in this, then we're free. What are we free from? The tyranny of an addicted. And I love the word nirvana. It literally means blown out. So you have to think of the flame of a candle, or in the ancient times, an oil lamp. So the flame is constantly being fed by the fuel. So the flame is my mind, and it's being fed by the fuel of the sense objects. Chocolate, sex, approval, shopping. All of this is rooted in senses. And the opposite, pig slipping work, 401k, crashing. Politics not the way I want. yogi learns to blow out the flame. This is the deep meaning in the Hebrew scripture of Shabbat, Sabbath. And all our striving. Nirvana is not a place that you go to. It's the mind state, the extinguishing. Okay, we're going to end early tonight. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Guru Namaha. Hari Om.